something to write.
All right. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully Tommy will show up. I guess you got to look through the minutes since you typed them up.
Well,
November and December.
yes, I have November's here with me, and evidently I didn't print December. I emailed them though, so I don't know if ever.
Read through it in the email, so.
Do you want me to read November's or?
No, I read through it.
Okay,
So I take a motion to accept the minutes as submitted,
so moved.
and all in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
Aye. And department heads, Landon, you needed to,
Yeah, I gotta get to.
Go.
So. Take off. Youth sports updates, so rec basketball and final regular season games will be this weekend. Then we move on to some tournament games throughout next week, and then championship Sunday will be on the 25th. Spring volleyball registration's live. There's the link there to our Civic Plus catalog. It's $85 player fee again. Player evaluations will be the week of February 23rd, and practices will start soon after. Then the season will wrap up by the end of April. Here we are hoping to have enough interest, hopefully, to have fourth and fifth graders together, and then sixth, seventh, and eighth together. Last year we were very close to doing it, but we didn't have it advertised or anything like that, so we just went ahead and kept them all together. So hopefully this year, with us getting it out before registrations start, hopefully it actually draws in a few more people that are interested. Pool, so hiring, concessions, front desk help, lifeguards again. Online application can be found there, or they can always stop in and pick up a paper copy. Discuss the pool rates at our most recent Parks and Rec Commission meeting. Nothing was finalized on a rate increase, as discussions will continue at February's meeting. We will require all patrons of the pool to have an account set up in our Civic Plus going forward to determine the amount of non-resident. So that's one of the things we kind of decided. We just knew the daily numbers, how many people were coming, but not necessarily were they a resident or a non-resident. So going forward, we'll require that. Obviously, we'll get the word out there. Hopefully, everybody will take the time to do it before they come to the pool. But if they do show up, we can always help them. We'll probably have an extra either tablet or laptop up there to, at least for the first couple of weeks, to help people get through that. Then pickleball. Meet with the contractor this Friday to finalize details on the project. Looking at a spring install. We'll update the time frame after the meeting. And then looking at applying for a NatureWorks grant to replace the fencing there that surrounds the courts in the park, the skate park. It is a 25% match grant. And then only a certain amount is allocated to Madison County, and we won't know that amount till later in the year. There is an application deadline on July 1st. So bring in some type of resolution or something. It's got to go through council and get approval before we can submit anything.
what kind of fence are you thinking of?
Just replacing that. So when that fencing comes down, we'll probably try to paint the poles black and then just replace that with chain link.
Like the black chain link fence? It'll look a lot better.
Yeah, a lot of holes in it, a lot of rust showing, a lot of, some broken poles here and there as well. So get all that kind of fixed up and look new.
So there's no chain on the inside of the court then? Sorry, that's kind of what I was thinking, because I was hoping to see the planner, what you were thinking for that pickleball. It's just the fence around it that is getting added or changed. Or that then for.
No, that's.
Or am I, sorry if I'm.
You're not, yeah. So the current fence that's around
Yes.
the basketball courts in the skate park is what we're looking at going after a NatureWorks grant to replace the fencing itself.
Okay.
With
Thank
the
you.
pickleball project, it is having a new fence installed inside that'll separate skate park from pickleball and also separate the two pickleball courts from each other.
But the new fence will go around the whole.
The whole outside, 12 feet tall. Yeah, 750 linear feet, I think. So.
I wanted to say, yeah, the discussion for increasing the rates, really like that. I was gonna say, is it possible to maybe for the next one, get the last 3 years of the costs also? I know you had this year's kind of.
I mean, of
what was used? I'm sorry, I'm kind of missing everything else on my budget right now. Right.
Talking about expenses?
Yes, expenses. And so you had the 2025 one, and so it was showing about 12,000 short this year. And so what we were kind of looking at was, hey, 7,000 people came through, put that up $2. We actually have a pool that I'm not sure how long it's been since that pool has ever actually paid for itself. But that's pretty impressive that, hey, our admission, yeah, I don't think it's probably been touched for a bit. Pat, do you know anything about when the admission was raised last?
Off the top of my head.
Okay, because yeah, and so I was just gonna say,
I can get on Authority Finance and see what was.
if you just had any
Yeah, the numbers and
expenses for
stuff like
last.
that for the payroll and chemicals. But like I say, yeah, that didn't touch any of the repairs, replacements, anything like that. That was just kind of more your basic
Oh, yeah,
daily operational cost to run the pool. So
and so, yeah, just seeing, hey, if there's something maybe we changed that's been helping us, because yeah, looks like profit's been increasing the last couple of years for sure, so hopefully keep on checking with that and hey, pool that at least cuts even isn't a bad thing. Thank you.
Assume that goes into determining what kind of rate increases there would be.
well, determining that just to see, the numbers of everybody that comes. So if there was just a rate increase, and the numbers stayed the same, we kind of can anticipate what additional revenue that would bring in. But as far as determining a resident versus non-resident rate, any daily admissions were basically just treated as a point of sale where we would, add $5 to the cart and just check them out. They'd pay cash. They would sign in, but we don't know whether they're resident or non-resident. So with the new software that we have, they'll create the accounts. We'll actually go into those accounts, and basically do the point of sale from their account. So then we know, all right, well, they're a non-resident and they came 35 times, during the year. So give us a more detailed description on resident versus non-resident. That way we know, is it worth going through the hassle of just raising non-resident rates, but only bringing in a couple $100, stuff like that. So.
Okay, any more questions for Landon?
Right.
All right, thank you. Bill, did you want to highlight anything?
Met with the contractor on High Street, got one of them up new. Ordered salt, got 400 tons. Met with the boring company on this project. Christmas lights are down, full patching. There's an alley vacating, coming to you guys, cleaned up across from Walmart, and then cleaned all the ditches in and out of town. Removed a beaver dam back at the bridge, the old landfill, and there are a couple other dams that the renter are going to be working on.
I'll keep my
Any-
damn comments in.
Oh, you?
I love beavers.
You have-
I'm making damn joke, what can I say?
Onto another property, and that property owner wants them removed.
Yeah, I know, that's, they're cute little buggers, like that. Dawn and Dust,
Catch release, we can release it to you if you want.
Dawn and Dust, if you go
Was
down
it-
there, they love sweet potatoes, might be able to catch.
It is catch and release?
Lips.
Where do you take them to?
And that's a licensed trapper.
Oh, okay. So they
Yeah, they
come and
like
take
that
it away,
little
and
creek
do they
back
get rid of the dam too, or do you guys do that? Okay, any questions for Bill?
For the porta potty,
No?
too.
Okay. Pat, do you have anything? Steve?
Only the proposed alley closure, didn't they go to you? Did I email it to you?
Yeah, yep.
Additional information on that when you get there.
Okay. You have anything? John, you have anything?
Did you guys get my email about the appointments?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll come to council this week.
We just take it again.
I got a couple.
I need to put that on the agenda because I don't have access to my. I didn't get.
It's just under communications would be appointments.
I already sent it to Eve, but she hasn't posted it. So maybe I can change it.
Sorry, it'll just be under communications.
Why don't you have access to your email yet?
I don't have my laptop. They're still, she's waiting for
I'll get it for you though.
somebody to
Oh.
pick up and wipe it.
I don't think it needs wiped. I think we just need to give you your.
You have access to
Yeah.
it.
Laptops to you?
I'll check with her, make sure. it's on the-
Just get them back. Tommy had some questions.
Yes, okay, so sidewalk rate checking. How's there, any updates on those guys or?
Where are we at? The sidewalk project's done, right? Or for now? I'm not the sidewalk, the
They're finished.
ramps. You're talking about the ramps?
Yep, and I know the old ones are finished for the last one,
Yep.
so I mean, kind of, is there anything you'd like maybe help Steve looking into, grants or anything else to kind of track down or?
I'm tracking a grant right now. Actually,
Yep.
Pat had said something yesterday. We're looking at the possibility of doing something on that. So I have a pretty quick turnaround, so we have to look. Other grants, like there's just not a lot that are out there specifically for that. We looked at what's the one, that was the one for the schools. It wasn't eligible for it, so
Yeah.
still continue to look for fun. I mean, different things come up all the time, so we'll
Okay.
continue to look for that.
Oh, yeah.
Part of I will say, the paving project will cover some of those, right? We'll have to do some of the cost of ours is to bring them up,
Upgrade 'em.
and they have to
Yep.
come up to current ADA standards in there. Even if they've been done before, they still have to come up to standards. So we'll continue to look at that as we go.
Anything that is a state highway that involves federal money has to be brought up to whatever the code is.
And I mean, yeah, if, hey, we can find more federal money to fix roads and hey, it helps fix our sidewalks. Win-win. So
Usually those are match.
it's gonna be the oddball.
I forget what that one was.
Federal roads are only gonna do state highways.
State highways.
They're
Yeah.
not gonna do
Yeah.
side
Yep,
streets.
no, and so it's those kind of odd
Yeah.
ones. So, it's still probably roughly 200 of them or so.
I
And so-
couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I wouldn't tell you wrong, but yeah.
220 left.
And I think just a caution is like on that sidewalk, that project's not paying for them. We have to repair them as part of the project. So it's our money being spent. So if we can find other grant. They have to be upgraded during that also.
Sounds good. I'm just gonna keep asking here and there. I'll keep my time between hopefully, but gotta keep on it. The turn on to Lafayette from High, coming down around here. That one, that corner with the sidewalk that's kind of just getting chunked out a little further and further.
High. No,
High,
Elm,
okay.
Elm, where it turns to Lafayette?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of I wasn't sure if that's one that we were gonna look into, or is that something we have to finally give something out to a homeowner? How do we want to approach that?
So the sidewalk, or the road?
The sidewalk, which is next to also the sewer grate, which probably needs.
well, the
Inside
sewer,
it.
the sewer grade, we're gonna handle. As for sidewalks, I think once we're in the middle of learning the software for City Logics and then figure out what council wants to do. How do we want to move forward? We'll give the presentation on City Logics and all the sidewalks. And then I know it's been discussion, Andy can attest to this,
This is being discussed when I left.
well, and it's what, how are we gonna do it? I mean, there was people saying the city pays for it, there were people saying the citizens pay for it, there's people saying the city and the citizens pay for it together, there was grants, so just needs to get figured out of how we want to move forward.
All right, and that one isn't anything special, like if we do fix the sewer grate, are we responsible for fixing the sidewalk next to
That's in the road.
sewer grate?
It's in
Yeah,
the
the
road.
road.
Considered in the road, not.
It's in the road. Yeah,
Yep.
not considered, it is.
Okay, well, cool. Those things are looking into. My last one is the storm sewer survey. With Omnifiber coming through, we know that they've just plowed through our storm sewer, right? Finding pieces of pipe coming out of lots of the holes. Kind of shown that. Our storm sewer survey we just got showed us where it is, so at least we do have that now. Can we begin the process on a storm sewer survey that looks through the pipes?
But we camera them whenever we have the opportunity. But how do you just made a statement that Omni Fiber pulling sewer up out of the ground,
Storm sewer.
where, because if they hit it, we fix it right then and there.
Even the storm sewer where you're not really sure, hey, where it's getting.
Well,
I'd
you
like to
just said
say,
it's been
however,
pulled out of the ground, so if it's been
Fourth
pulled out of the
Street,
ground, we had to
Fourth
see
Street,
it.
right down over, Fourth Street, right across from McDonald's there. Yeah, that's where I live, and so that's where I've seen like the orange pipe coming out, and I know the ground has been sinking there. Even over here, we've had the one sinkhole over by there. But I mean, it's something that if you've told us, Bill, that we have sinkholes,
Well, we've got sinkholes, yes, and you're gonna continue to have sinkholes as long as there's pipe underground, you're gonna have sinkholes.
but if we
Settling.
fix that storm sewer pipe, would that not help these sinkholes?
Well, first of all, you gotta tell me that it's busted. I mean, we
And
were,
that's
out-
what-
anytime they busted one, they usually called and we repaired right then and there.
And so that's what I'm wanting to look into is can we start finding some way to at least look through them and see
Well,
what
I
is
just said we
busted?
camera them when we have the opportunities.
All right, do you have
We haven't been
a
at
chart
the
of
full
what you've
staff,
cameraed so far and can say is in good condition, poor condition, needs fixing?
Yeah, when it's cambered, it's all
Okay.
recorded at that point in time.
Maybe you could, yeah, just find a copy of that then and send that on over to me, that'd be fine.
It's not done.
Cause then we can know what else does need to get tracked and should be fixed.
So is the sewer by your house busted?
Storm sewer, it's water going. I'm at a high elevation over there, so
I-
everything runs away from me. So I'm not really sure where everything else goes to.
So
but
why do you think it's busted? Is I think the question.
Once again, seeing the orange clay pipe coming out of the
Well,
hole
because,
that,
just because
they
it
were
come
bored.
out of the ground doesn't mean that that's a storm sewer, because you're,
as
a lot
well,
of
we
these
have
old
clay
houses had
pipes
yard
all over
pipes.
this city. I mean, if.
No, we understand what
It's
you're
worth
saying,
looking
but you were saying that it was pulled up and busted. We're trying to understand.
Yes.
So the storm sewer is busted by your house?
That would be my guess, if I'm seeing orange storm sewer pipe in the holes.
Can you take a picture and send to me with an address and we'll come over and look at it?
That
Like, I think
was
that's
about
one of the
2
questions.
years ago, though. So, it's kind of can't really pull up too much. I might be able to dig in the ground a little bit and see what I pull up. But it's more of I'd like to see what the condition is if we have sinkholes in the city. How are we fixing roads if we have sinkholes and our storm sewer? We
Is
aren't
it
sure.
something you're not able to take a picture of to send?
No, I wouldn't say so. I can try.
yes.
You can go see. But
Well, if you can see the pipe coming out of the ground and it's busted.
once again,
you can't.
2023, so the.
Oh, it was 2 years, 3
Yes,
years
this
ago.
was when Omni Fiber came through
Oh,
2 years ago.
so 3 years
And
ago.
so that's where the storm sewer survey we got, I thought was actually something that through our
No,
pipes
this-
and storm
no.
sewer system, but to just track where it's at.
So the survey we did was to locate where all the manholes and catch basins were at. He didn't map the piping. He just went out and located, GIS'd where the basins and manholes were at.
Okay, well, Pat
That's
told
not a
us it was
survey,
to
it
tell
just-
us where it was, so that's more specific, thank you. And so manholes, that's, so, all right. Main thing is, can we find something or what would it cost to look into actually tracking this? Because I know that's your biggest concern, isn't it? Money? Or what's
I'm
kind of
lost.
the issue?
I'm
'Cause-
completely lost.
I'm lost.
all right, just send me whatever you have on our storm sewer and the condition it's in, Bill. That's all I'm looking for now. Okay? If you don't have any idea, then I'd recommend that as a city, it's our job to know what's under our feet, especially when it is the city's storm sewer.
Okay,
water.
okay, so let me interject here. So if you're asking for a document exists, we're glad to do it. But you're asking us to create documents that don't exist, and you can request that, but like, there's a lot of other work going on to do that.
That's what I'm saying. If it doesn't exist, couldn't we
Well, that's
look
what I said,
into
we
what it would
do.
cost to just track?
We
Or
actually
survey.
have a camera system. When we have the opportunity, because you can only do it certain weather conditions and stuff,
Yes,
we go out and camera.
okay.
And if somebody calls and says there's an area that's got a problem, we camera that area first, look, see if we find it. So Walnut Street, we had a sinkhole come up. We go down there, oops it, dig it up. It's either sanitary sewer or storm sewer usually it's broke, or a water main.
Does that
So
mean,
you can have a water main that's broken, been leaking for years, and it's washed all the gravel out for a mile.
oh yeah, a big old hole down there. So
Well,
you hit your sinkholes.
It doesn't until the sun just sinks.
Yep.
Yep. then
And
we
so that's where
investigate it.
I'd rather be on top of it. I'm a preemptive guy rather than reactive.
And are you asking for the area outside your home, like on
Just
Union Street to
City
be
in general, we
cambered?
can start over on Ward 3, if anything kind of work in a certain direction, because once again, we've done a lot better with getting the flooding down. actually.
Right now,
You're-
you camera areas when people call in and complain about,
When there's an issue.
city's a pretty huge area to go and start or sending the camera down through.
Now that we are up to staff, come time,
We've talked about that, about
We will.
going out and starting to, now that we know where all the manholes are, to go from there and start using that GIS map to GIS. the
because the
rest of
problem
it.
was before, I was pretty much the only person that knew where everything lay. I can't be in 10 places at one time. So we walked in and turned in, GPS where stuff's at. So now that's created. So Tommy can go out, look at a manhole and put a camera in there and figure whether it runs north, south, east, or west.
And I can't wait for the summer because, yep, I hope to join you at least, Bill, on a couple of those because I'd like to see, I remember 2023, once again, we were seeing that we couldn't even send cameras down a couple of them because of the bricks that had collapsed into them. And so, I mean, that's where my logic's kind of coming from is that, we're just waiting for something to pop up.
I mean, right now, the area you're talking about is along Union Street by your
Yeah, right
house,
here.
right?
Yep, right
Okay.
next to McDonald's. And so I don't mind it. Hey, not asking just for me, it's for the amount of people that have flooding in their basements from the storm sewer water. Not
Well,
leaving.
and see, there you go, yeah. A lot of people blame a storm sewer for their basement. Half the storm sewers ain't even deep as a basement in this town. So it's a little hard for the storm sewer to flood something that ain't as deep.
Just wanted to look through it, Bill.
Well, no, I'm just saying, you just sat there and said that, and that's not a true statement. I
Okay,
got a guy on High Street that's telling me the storm sewer's flooding his basement. His basement's 8 feet deep. The storm sewer's only 2.5 feet deep. So how's the storm sewer flood that basement? It's not, it's sanitary. So those are two different piping.
okay. And so, I mean, still,
I mean, that's all I'm
Yep.
trying to explain here, because people are saying these, and it's not a true statement. There's two different beasts out here.
either way,
If you go to the old sections of town, which you are in,
Okay.
your 4 basements were tied to the sanitary sewers. So they're not tied to a storm sewer. So when that's backed up in your basement, it's shit, it ain't clear water.
I've never seen it. But unfortunately, there are. So, but yeah, just kind of wanted to keep looking into it, see what else we can.
No,
But
we look into it whenever we have the opportunity. I mean, that'll continue.
I know cleaning out the ditches did a big number for us. It seems like the flooding, I think in the last year or two has definitely decreased from where it was filling up Los Mariachis parking lots and everything else. So even down there by County Park hasn't seen as much lately. Oh,
Nothing else?
thank you much.
Okay, so you can camera areas when people complain about it. Okay,
So come summertime, we're back up to staff. We'll end up going up.
Pretty much.
all right. Nothing else for Steve?
Actually, I do have something else, I guess it fits here. So during the last meeting, I was off, I'd been ill that week. There was a presentation by Mr. Boyd about a project he wanted to do. Councilman Eads had talked about it, and I agree that in that meeting that we had, this project was discussed. I can't remember what it's called now, but So-
Mr. Boyd, by the way.
pardon?
Yeah.
Jim Boyd.
Jim Boyd, yeah.
My thoughts.
So yeah, so this Lean Sigma Six So I spoke to him about it, and during the course of some of my research over the holidays, I actually received a call from Rumpke. And Rumpke was upset because Mr. Boyd had called representing himself as an aide to city council, inquiring and pushing for additional information about Rumpke and what it would cost and several other things. They're not even gonna give me the information. So long story short, unless I'm directed by the mayor, I absolutely am not going to look into this project. I've completely lost trust. He's going outside indicating unless you guys have hired aides, I'm not aware, he's going outside trying to do it. I absolutely have zero faith that during any kind of evaluation, he would be, if he can't go through the established chains of what's going on, I don't trust he'll do something good for us. So just kind of putting it out there that we're looking at everything else we can, but I don't think that's the route I plan to go. I think that, how to nicely say it. So the concept, somebody's going to backdoor and try to do that system. And I have an email from Rumpke, so I had asked him the document, so I do have that email. It can be discussed. So,
About him and how he presented himself.
yes. So
Uh,
I think to better define my side is that, we could go to Rumpke and ask them what they're going to charge us. They're not going to tell us. Why would they tell us? So if you call the last meeting, I believe Mr. Eads had said, or somebody, that, well, we could put it out to bid just to see what they're offering. Well, number one, I feel that's unethical, my opinion. But I think it's wrong because they have to put time and money in to determine that. And the same thing. So if Rumpke says, here's what we would charge, and that gets out and somebody else is going to bid it, they're going to beat it. It defeats their business procedures, how they would do things. So, I tried to nix that to begin, and then he goes right behind it, tries to find it too. So
Trying to,
I would say Mr. Rupert said that by no way mean are they going to get that information? They're not. What's public, we can get from the other public domains. The mayor did with Plain City on what was bid, that becomes a public document. But,
so there was some discussion, I guess, as far as putting this on the ballot or not. I don't know if we want to discuss that or not. I just wrote down questions. Are we able to?
It's coming.
Well, I didn't see it on the agenda for finance for tonight. So I don't know if that's still coming or not. But
Janelle did legislation and we have one new piece of legislation and that is it. And we've never been talked about. Nobody talked to us about it. So this is surprises everyone else.
I apologize, my voice is not great because I've been sick. There is legislation prepared for Thursday. That would be to put the issue on the ballot. I've talked to Mr. Eads about it several times at this point, last week and again today. I don't believe it's the right route to go, but he wanted it prepared so it could still be presented to council. I don't know if it's going to be discussed tonight or not. That's kind of why I'm here, just in case it is.
What's your thoughts of why it's not appropriate to put it on the ballot?
It would be as an advisory election, which is a non-binding decision by the vote of the people, which I cannot find any other municipality that has ever actually put an advisory election on the ballot. That does not mean it doesn't exist. I cannot find it. I've researched it for days at this point, and I cannot find another issue that's gone. And the way that the secondary sources are written about advisory elections, it seems it's intended for things that would eventually go on the ballot, but maybe the municipality is just wanting to get public, like gauge
Like a
it.
straw poll to where it's not legally binding.
Yeah, it's not legally binding at all.
So we could do it and then they could say, yes, keep it and do this, or no, get rid of it. And then council could turn around and say, no, we're gonna go the other way with it.
Correct. And then,
So it's basically just to get an opinion of a few people, basically, because
and that's the
that
thing, is
particular
being
election
on a,
wouldn't get a broad opinion from a lot of people.
the last primary gubernatorial
You
4
may
years.
have just said, but doesn't it cost the city to put that on the ballot several?
Board of Elections estimated about $10,000.
Oh. 10,000?
So,
Oh,
are we able to put out a survey? If we wanted to do that, is it, what kind of cost when we send out surveys to Ward 3, what kind of cost was involved in that? I'm sure less than 10,000.
imagine it'd be less, but I mean, yeah, you got a printing cost, put it together, send it out, and then I would assume a free return, prepaid return to,
I believe that there's gotta be
4,400.
more cost efficient ways and a better way to reach more people. And I think the other thing that I'm worried about is putting on the ballot the language that would need to be used. I'm not sure would be an informed decision for the public, whereas council might be in the best position to make an informed decision, not the public.
so
Just based on getting all the information.
The way it's worded is pretty much, do you want to keep sanitation and pay $8 more? In a roundabout way, that's the way I read it.
So
Really doesn't give a,
Who's gonna
Who's
vote
gonna
yes?
say yes? Right?
why, I'm imagining that those that are gonna show up are those that have an interest.
So let me ask a question then, because that's one of the things somebody asked me. How many times has this been a public hearing? It's 3, there's gonna be 4. How many people have showed up at the previous 3 public hearings, which is what it's normally scheduled for, people discuss it? And I will give, besides our employees, who I'm happy show interest and we're there, Mr.
Raymond Kelly or
Anthony, Mr. Anthony, and a couple others, and that's it. So what are we looking for to spend $10,000 for that large amount to an election that the last gubernatorial election, the primary, was about 1,500 roughly. It's still not representative of our 11,000 people or, 6,700 registered voters. Like, what are we trying to get from there? So, I think the argument was made before is they're not even showing up to there. And I don't think it's necessarily that people don't care, but will they even take the time? So if we spend $10,000 or even $5,000, we get 250 return. I'll be bold in saying this, but that's why we elect city council to make the decision. That's my personal opinion. And I will tell you their side. So I called today. This goes back just to the sanitation side. So we renewed the lease for another 6 months for the rental truck, the rental. Looking at additional cost, I'm trying to look. Might be a little bit cheaper. It still depends because we'd have to put them out to bid. We might be able to buy the one we're using and bring some cost down. But as we go on, that we did get an employee transfer, street department over to sanitation. So right now we're short a full-time superintendent and 1 driver.
So they were sent from street to
They
sanitation.
asked to transfer. Yep. So they
So-
were sent.
That was one of my other questions. If we're able to contract with a company, you said we could negotiate for some terms. Like as far as keeping the trash cans, are we able to negotiate for them to take on our current sanitation employees?
So I talked to Nick Rupert from Rumpke, and the reason I spoke with him is we are talking about, they do the transfer. And I asked how people normally do that. So what he said, what they would likely do, and he can't speak because of the contract, what it would be, but normally they would offer to employees that meet the requirements. Drug testing, driving abstract, some of the other things that they normally would offer them employment. So I don't know if we can bid it to require it or not. That's something we can look into. I would assume our people are, we know unless something happened, we check their license, so we know they have their CDLs and they're drug tested when they're hired, and if they ever have an accident, and we never have issues with that. So I'm assuming there would not be a reason they wouldn't qualify, but that is an effort we can make to make sure they were hired. Or to make every effort we could to make them hired.
Yeah. The other question was if current employees for sanitation could be employed in different departments from the city or with the city, like for street department or other departments.
We've done transfers already from department to department.
Something would have to be open.
Yeah, vacancies.
Right? There'd have to be vacancies.
That could be an option,
If there's vacancies.
right?
So with that, I would have to say largely, well, unless they have police or fire qualifications, it would be street department, and they would only, like, we don't have enough spots to hire everybody, obviously. So that'd be. But by contract and PPM, they have a right to apply for vacancies and transfer. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions about that particular topic? Do you have any comments on that? No? Okay. I assume that's coming up in finance. mean, I just see it on the agenda, but I assume it is
I don't know where it's coming.
I have a feeling it's gonna come up.
in finance.
But yeah, the only thing that gets me with Rumpke is after talking to a couple people, growing up out of Choctaw, you have whatever out there, it's gone. You never heard of extra fees, nothing else like that. It's a different trash can, whatever, it's getting in there. However, out here at Deer Creek Township, people saying, hey, they still get that $10, $15 fee if they've got a decent little pile there next to it. You know, not tons, but it's just kind of a difference that, you know, without it being kind of said, hey, here would be our price, makes it tough to go their way.
Well, no, because we're gonna bid it. So it's just like any other bid we do. We will bid that, and that's a contract between the city and them. It's paid by the individual, but they have to meet the elements of that contract. So as Mr. Hitt asked you, we could say, hey, as long as those cans are there, you have to accept them. I asked if you would. Yes, we would. Then those that don't have them, new people, once they run out, would be able to purchase, or I think they rent them monthly. So it's the
Yeah.
same one, as long as they're
The
compatible.
Plain City bid was like
Yeah.
that, where they take, I think it was, I'd have to look back at it, but it was, their bid packet went out of this are the things, right? Like you've got to pick everything up, use these trash cans, whatever. It's just however it's bid out.
So if you want to say that they pick it up, or that you have, so I'll use the personal service for the elderly, for the senior citizens and the handicapped. So that's written in it. They have to do that. There's, you know, it's tied into what their dollar is, I'm saying. You know, and then if there's refrigerator pickup, yes, with charge. I'm just thinking of things that were on the other, you know, that you
So
would
they're
ask.
able
if
to
they would
actually
put their-
give that kind of to us as a, hey, yeah, we wouldn't
Here's
charge
what we're
for
asking.
extra on the side
We-
or kind of a bulk.
We kind of bid, I'll say a list, and they come back. If I look at what Plain City and others done, and they say, yeah, here's the trash cost, here's the recycle, here's the cost of rental for a trash can per month, here's so it's a per month charge, but they show what their charges are, yeah.
So I have city pickup because I have property in city. I have county property. County property is picked up. I can set my house out there once a week and it's picked up for free. There's no additional cost.
Have we
In the
ever
city,
looked
I
into
pay
what
additional
Choctaw's
cost.
price is for Rumpke? Have we ever looked into that?
Well, the problem is Choctaw's in between the individual, so they're individual. They could charge you one price or something. So it's not a constant, it's not a bid price. So we probably could look those, but I'd be leery of comparing them to contract prices. So you would think logically they're gonna give us a better deal than the other. It doesn't look like that's happening. Maybe they're gonna lose them, but because they're getting the bulk, they're gonna pick everybody's subtractions. So it's an open, like Choctaw, I think open would be the way to word it, right? It's not a closed system. You can go with whoever you want. So, but I think Bill's indication is probably the same as a lot of different ones. I don't assume they just want to keep that business, so.
So with the idea that this is maybe kind of finance, as far as how it would impact sanitation, to put this off until May, how does that impact sanitation decisions or costs or equipment or all that kind of
I
stuff?
extended the lease. I actually was able to bring that lease down a few dollars per month because we extended. But other repairs, if something happens to the electric, I mean, there's just other issues there that have to be dealt with. My opinion is, I originally brought it forth so we'd make the decision by December. And again, I said, if you remember, we're sitting right here, and what do I think? And at the time I said, that's what you're paid for. I don't care which way it goes. I'm all for either one, but we're putting off time for them and what it is. If you guys want to keep it, I'm going to raise the price, tell me so I can get working so we can get things fixed and get it better. I can't put a ton of money into that, not knowing which way we're going to go. You know, lease extensions, we have to do it, but we need 2 trucks. Well, we need another front loader pickup and then a rear load. So we need 3 total trucks. Well, I can't purchase or.
You have,
So that's on hold until something's determined.
Yeah.
I guess I have a question. Reading this ordinance. It says $8. Are you guaranteeing me that's enough?
That is what was given to the law director's office back in December when the first legislation, that 192.25 went. That's what we were told to put.
So that is before I knew we needed a third truck.
Yeah.
Ken hasn't been there, so, I don't know if that request went to her today or not. I don't remember. So to look at the cost of 3 trucks to figure out and make sure that is enough before the final legislation.
Talking with the trucks. Bill could testify to this. A lot of our repairs on the front load trucks, the red trucks, are the throttle can repairs. Broken arms, worn out parts. If we were to stay, I don't know, I think the throttle cans are $35,000 to $40,000. So if we got 2 new throttle cans. And
What-
got the front, the throttle cans, the big cans, the big yellow things in the front of the truck that pick up the cans and dump them. A lot of our repairs in the last 6 months on the trucks being down are broken parts on that particular apparatus. So if we were to buy 2 new throttle cans at, let's just say $40,000 a piece, that's $80,000. Have the trucks go out and get the repairs that they need as far as the engines, oil, whatever, thoroughly checked. Maybe those trucks will last a little bit longer, and then you won't need 2. You'll need, like, the rental. Right now, with us running the rental and the 2 red ones and the rear load, unless we get held up in the mornings right now because Rumpy's only come one time the last couple days. So we have to wait to unload our trucks in the morning, and it takes an hour to get that mess cleaned up. We've been doing fairly well as getting done unless we're behind because of that. But you spend $80,000 on 2 throttle cans. And then get the trucks maintained, and now you're only looking at possibly 2 trucks instead of a 3rd truck.
When were those last replaced, or have we replaced
Those
them?
are the originals, so 2020.
Okay, so 5 years out. That's pretty good. I think, say 2 or 3 years, we should be replacing them.
But the throttle cans, I mean,
Using 100,
they
200
they break down because they're wear and tear on the parts. They get used.
heavy trash cans.
Yeah. So, and I know that's part of the, we've had those over there. His crew's done a great job working on that stuff, getting it fixed so that we're not down for so long. But if they were newer, they would probably last us a lot longer.
Oh, you're gonna get. So, yeah, you're gonna have to end up buying throttle cans for them, but those trucks are also gonna have to be shipped off to be refurbished. Because there's issues with that truck.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If we,
So you'd have to have at least another new truck sitting here. Keep a rental going plus a new truck and a red truck.
Do we have a list of everything that we will get from having the increase, I guess, as far as the 2 trucks? I'm sorry if I don't have that.
You probably don't have that. I'll see if I have a copy for Thursday.
but I know that the objective was, when I got hired, was they want to go to front load dumpsters.
Well, and so that would be a great concept, except to do that, we have to replace all the other dumpsters.
Right.
And in order to do that, or even to buy more dumpsters or trash cans, we have to know if we'll keep.
Right.
So I think $10,000 minimum order for new trash cans, right? And then what's the dumpsters cost? So I don't mean that to be obtrusive. I agree with you, but we have to know all those to be able to move forward.
Associated with going to front load dumpsters.
And the same thing, if we're gonna move forward, we start moving towards a closed shop, which we're supposed to be. That's gonna take time. We've let
And
people
then, so
open.
if you're doing that, then you're not gonna buy a rear load truck, you're definitely gonna have to buy more
Well,
front load
front.
trucks. They're gonna be more expensive.
What's closed shop? I'm sorry.
So requirement that all commercial businesses must do our trash pickup. We do.
So there's-
So yeah, I was
Some-
thinking that's what we have now,
So
right?
back when
This
the
is
Board
not
of
been
Public
enforced.
Utilities was here, you and I had that discussion.
Yeah,
Because you went and talked to Tom Coughlin and said that.
he wasn't happy about it.
Exactly, but this city has always been a closed city.
It has.
And I am forced to have my trash picked up because nothing against these guys. I can have Grumpy come pick my trash up for the same price. And they're gonna pick up everything I'm throwing out there versus I'm being charged additional.
And that's where I had thought that we had actually said that we had gotten almost everyone in town besides the ones that we couldn't service.
There's a handful of
Rebels.
dumpsters Burger King, McDonald's, and we have found McDonald's is 3 days a week. Burger King is 3 days a week. So there's two sets of, well, two businesses, is it Kenny Center, is that the one at Kenny and Lafayette? Where Los Mariachis is, there's two dumpsters there that Republic Waste comes and picks up.
Saying Steve Humer.
There's, that little diner there in Lafayette, somebody picks theirs up. So there's a handful of customers who don't use us for dumpsters, the Aldi's.
That could be using
That's
us.
supposed to be used for us, but we didn't have a superintendent in place to enforce that.
So, but here's the issue, and again, it's not an issue necessarily negative, but I'm not gonna go out and start pushing that and enforcing it, not knowing which way we're going. If we're keeping it, we'll start making that motion. Now, as we do that, they have contracts, so we're gonna have to work with those entities to make sure that we're not, if you just sign a contract with somebody for a year, we gotta wait that time period. We can't
And I
force you to
heard-
break it. It's our fault, not theirs.
I heard the ones that don't use us, the McDonald's, Burger King, are supposed to pay a yearly fee to the city for not using us.
$600 fee, which.
Well, no, I understand.
Which hasn't been paid for years. So,
Right.
I think that's the case.
Right, that's what I'm saying though, so that's stuff that hasn't been.
Well,
And, on that statute, what happened to like when there's an event in the city? The Rib Fest, the Strawberry Festival, when I first started, we used to put a dumpster somewhere and they would empty it. We haven't done that. Now it's being done by the Trash Brother, whatever they are, the green dumpsters that are out there.
So like a 30-yard cubic.
Yeah. So why aren't we picking the trash up and billing these events for that trash?
I'd have to go back and look at what the codified said, well, if we can require that or not. I mean, you look at them, they're using 20, 30 cubic yard dumpsters, probably like a construction site. We don't have the capability to know, so I don't know if that's the same or not. I don't know.
okay, well, let's move on to new business. Let's talk about the alley vacation.
So you have the petition. I think since the petition I got from the law director's office, the signed returns. So a number of those go out from Raquel's office that request a return no later than 10 days from it. We have got sanitation. No issue, no objection. Street superintendent, no objection. And from engineering at Ohio Edison. We did not yet, and I had a post-it note going. I think,
You need Columbia Gas and you need,
yeah, Columbia Gas Mid Ohio had not replied, so. Now, my answer to that is that's their fault. Like,
I'm gonna tell you now, there's nothing in that alley that's, any of them are stuff.
So I guess even though we don't have those, we can still send it to council and they probably come in the meantime if we're doing three.
It gets sent to council, whether it's there or not.
I think, yeah, so what it said, proposed alley vacation, there's three things they can mark. No objections, reserve easement rights in the vacation, or often the following comments on it. So when them not replying, the letter sent, and you may want to speak more on that, but it says you have, no later than 10 days. That letter was sent on January 5th. So we are at almost at 10. So Thursday would be 10 days, so.
Okay. And it's got all the signatures they need as far as adjoining properties or.
Yeah, adjoining property. So again, you should have a copy of that. There's only, if you look at the picture, you have Three Hammers, which is them, House Divided, which is,
Three Hammers is the house that's right next to the alley.
I think that's the person asking for the vacate is Three Hammers, they own that house. And then, House Divided is, in that Flax and Miller, and they signed Kevin Flax signed.
Oh, that's in the business, the building
That's
with the red
on the
awnings.
other side.
Okay, yeah.
The only two that are affected, and then again, as you look, it's from the alley behind them coming off of North Madison across to High Street.
Just along that fence is the area that they're talking about vacating.
The alley's already been vacated back here anyhow, 'cause somebody built a garage on it.
Back here, yeah.
But they were this, be vacated along that fence, along the house, not the whole over to Fourth Street. Just the one section.
Well, it would be parallel with
It's just from the High Street
to the,
to the drive that comes out of Flax and then up
Yeah.
that alley.
which I think goes behind TK.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
TK in the corner of the old bank. There's an alley goes there, so it's from that alley to High Street. That is it, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I think from our side, there's no reason not to send it forward.
Any other questions about that or no? Anyone want to make a motion to take this to council?
Maybe we should take it to council.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Sponsor.
you want to sponsor?
Sure.
All right, Tommy Boyd will sponsor.
That's it.
That requires a public hearing too, right? Does the alley vacation require a public hearing?
Yes. I remember right.
I think so.
Yeah, so they should.
Deep, yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah, High Edison did reserve the right, but no objection.
Okay. All right, anything else? John, you have anything? Anything else?
That's all for me.
Nothing else. All right, motion to adjourn.
Should do that.
We are adjourned, 5:51.
9 minutes to spare.
Oh, the next meeting will be February 10th, I believe it is.
Any seats for the next meeting?